hosts. I'm Diane Bortoletto.
And I'm Monique Chicado.
Let's do it.
Hello, and welcome to And Away We Go F1 podcast, a Formula One podcast that goes beyond the track limits to include travel, food, and lifestyle surrounding the sport. My name's Diane Bortoletto, and I'm your pre-Drive to Survive Formula One fan. And today I'm sitting in Venice with some funky wallpaper behind me of monkeys on a Venetian setting.
What a place to be. And my name's Monique Chicado. I'm your post-Drive to Survive Formula One fan. And I am sitting nowhere near as interesting as you today, Di. I am in my office in Stavanger in Norway. I'm so jealous. Venice is our region, Di.
Oh, it is. But I'm so happy to be back. And I'm so sorry about last week. We did actually record a podcast when I was on board the Ponant ship called Le Bougainville, but the Wi-Fi just failed and we couldn't get the episode uploaded, and then we lost it, and I was gutted, but it's really good to be back.
Technology, yes. So
yeah,
if you listened last week, you would have only heard my voice because, like Di said, we had some technology issues, and well, how fun it was. And it's obviously not our ideal situation to have only one of us speaking and presenting. But yes, we had to do the best that we could. And unfortunately, that's the way it ended up. And that's not the most interesting kind of dilemma that we've had trying to do this podcast from different parts of the world. Last week, trying to watch the Formula One, you had such a great time, didn't you, Di?
My God. So because I was on the cruise, and it's a French ship, so they've got the French TV channels, and something to do with the Wi-Fi setting on the ship meant I couldn't enable my VPN, and I couldn't even download a new VPN. It just was blocking it. And so I had to watch French TV, and I had to watch qualifying in French. And I fell asleep during that because it was late and it was in French and it was just hard to follow. And then I had to watch the race in French. So it was just an experience. And I don't speak French. My understanding of French is minimal, limited to, bonjour, ça va, l'édition,
en baguette,
café au lait, s'il vous plaît. That's about it. So to watch the Grand Prix, I mean, I kept hearing the words pilote, like the drivers, but yeah, it was a real challenge.
Yeah. Even if our F1 TV is not working and we have to find a channel that's obviously playing the Formula One, and that channel is generally a Norwegian channel, it is just a whole other ball game watching it without the commentary that you're used to.
Yeah.
So we had this issue when we were at the track in Bahrain this sounds so hoity-toity, sorry, from the hospitality that we were in. You couldn't hear any of the commentary that was happening. So we were there watching the qualifying. So it's qualifying is a lot easier to follow when you don't have commentary than the race. And I could see what was happening because I could see the screen across the straight. So I could see the times coming up and who was where. But the people that I was with, they couldn't see that far without glasses. So they had no commentary. They couldn't see the timing board, and all they could see was cars zipping past. And they were like, we don't know what's going on.
What's happening? Yeah, because that's the thing when you're at the track. It's impossible to hear the commentary. They do have commentary over the speakers, but you just can't hear it over the cars, over people chinking their champagne glasses so close to you.
It was damn it.
But yeah, no, it's impossible to follow the commentary. And even they provide earbuds for F1 radio on the track, and that can, again, it's really hard to hear over all the other noise. So you're really reliant on those big screens. And if you can't see a big screen, then you're just lost.
Yeah, exactly. And I know when we were in Qatar, we could hear the commentary, which was great because we must have been quite close to one of the big speakers. But they were bouncing between English commentary and then speaking in Arabic. And so a lot of the time you'd miss what was happening because it was in another language. And it just obviously goes straight over your head when it's in another language, as you obviously experienced trying to watch the entire Grand Prix in French.
Yeah, and just very quickly, my thoughts on the Grand Prix in Canada. I know we're a week late. Well, I'm a week late. Is that I found the whole race pretty boring besides the last 6 laps. And when Oscar and Lando were fighting, and Oscar was fighting to pass Kimi, and Lando was fighting to pass Oscar, and then Lando obviously tried to overtake Oscar on a gap that wasn't there and crashed out, hit the wall, and ended his race. But yeah, he still seems to not deal with pressure as well as what Oscar is dealing with pressure. So and that's showing in his results.
We love our Oscar Piastri.
Yeah. Biased, owning it. Yeah.
Right? So you know what? You do you say what you need to, you do what you need to, but own it. And we own our bias.
I haven't seen much fallout as a result of that. It seems that, Lando apologised straight away in the media pen, as you mentioned. And that was the other annoying thing about watching the Grand Prix in French was the interviews are done in English, but the French commentary team speak over the top to translate. So you're trying to hear the background English commentary when the French crew are talking. And then, of course, the race was finished and I was sharing a cabin with my beautiful mum who was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. My mum, no talking.
Mum, stop!
That's kind of background English that I'm trying to listen to and decipher. Yeah, but bless.
Own your mistakes, own things, admit it. You're not going to cop backlash, right? So there was no fallout because he knew what he did. He admitted it. He openly said it was stupid. There was no gap. So nothing really needs to be said or done after that, right? There was probably a couple of words back when he got to the McLaren space, but you don't really need to say much when they know what's happened. So whereas if you're trying to blame it on someone else, then of course people are going to there's going to be more talk about it. So yeah.
And the other thing I'd like to say is that I'm just so super happy and proud of little Kimi Antonelli, who's not so little anymore. He's proving himself week after week. And it's so good to see him get his first podium.
Yeah, I feel bad when I call him little or cute because it's very not condescending. Well, yeah, it is condescending to say little because, I mean,
he's young.
He's young. And I don't need to call him little or cute because I know what that's like. I used to get called little and cute all the time in my 20s and 30s. And I don't like that.
I think you still do.
And all I ever wanted to be called was beautiful, not little or cute. So I know what it's like. I have to stop.
And you are that as well, my friend. You are very beautiful, but you're pocket-sized and there's just, you can't, that's just the way it is.
Can't escape it. Can't escape it. All right, should we move on to some of the biggest news and the biggest happenings that have happened this week? There was the premiere of the Formula One movie, which has been spoken about at length, advertised, hyped up, by everyone for so long. And it's finally out.
Yeah,
I know. It is finally out. I have been very closely criticizing what everyone chose to wear to the Formula One premiere. Once upon a time, you wouldn't believe it by what I'm wearing. And, but I used to work in the fashion industry. And it used to be my passion. So I have some very strong opinions on what people chose to wear.
Oh, well, just before we hear that, I was invited to the premiere in Perth, the screening.
Happened last night, yes.
Exactly. And I'm in Venice, so I missed out. But yes, anyway, let's hear it, Mon. What are your thoughts on what everyone was wearing to the premiere? Who are you starting with?
My awards for the best dressed.
Oh, awards.
Yes, my awards for the best dressed. And I went with 2 awards for best dressed and worst dressed because, that is also an achievement to be the worst dressed. But no surprises. My 2 best dressed were Lewis Hamilton and Yuki Tsunoda. Both of them just looked so polished, so modern and so cool. Hamilton was wearing a beautiful fitted white jacket that buttoned up down one side and high neck but no collar, and he had a beautiful brooch on. There's something about him looking so regal with these hand tats and
his braids.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful combination of polished and modern and cool. Yuki Tsunoda was wearing this very oversized suit, and it just looked so cool. Again, fresh, modern, and he polishes up well, Di. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, Yuki
got a
does. And he had his hair kind of brushed forward a bit and messed up a bit. It wasn't all slick. And yeah,
yeah,
I looked at photos of Yuki too. I thought, yeah, looking super cool. Like, yeah.
right. And he's grown
Mm,
up a bit, and he's got a really square jawline, and
mm.
just his beautiful eyes. Like, he looked really, really good. So they were my two best dressed, and I have to special mention to Lando Norris. Very classic blue, well, navy suit with a open collared white t-shirt and some white sneakers. Not white t-shirt,
Was,
white shirt. It was a classic look. His suit fit well, because that's one of my bugbears, is an ill-fitting suit. When you're young and you have a lot of money, there is no excuse for an ill-fitting suit unless it's supposed to be oversized like Yuki's.
yeah.
So Esteban Ocon for the beautiful classic black tux, black bow tie dress shoes. He looked fabulous.
He was the only one in a tux that I noticed. Everybody else was wearing other suits. I think Carlos Sainz had a t-shirt
Jumper.
on under, oh, a
He had a knitted jumper.
Underneath
Yeah.
his suit and looked a lot more casual. I don't
Yeah.
think the colours he chose were necessarily his best colours.
It gave me school teacher, which at the premiere of the Formula One movie, and not so great. So, but I also think that Isaac Hadjar deserves a special mention too. If his shoes were not early 2000s skater boy, then I think he could have looked really cool, because he had that white t-shirt with Hugo Boss, just a nice little black logo, and then the oversized kind of caramelly colored suit, very Yuki-esque again. But then he had these black and white early 2000s skater boy shoes on that if he had just worn a nice pair of white sneakers, he would have looked fabulous. But it was interesting to see that not many people chose to wear something super formal. But yes, they were my best dressed. Shall we go
You're
into
right.
my worst
This
dressed?
is what I want to hear. Let's go.
All right. So my worst dressed awards, Charles Leclerc.
Oh, what was he wearing? Was it brown?
It was like a cream color.
Ah,
And cream, like that cream linen-y color, is really hard to wear if you're not the right coloring for it. Like if your undertone's not right, because Espen is blonde, blue-eyed, and I thought he would look amazing in a cream colored suit. And he put it on, and I was like, oh no, 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 no. It washed him out so much. And I think with Leclerc, it did the same thing. But not just that, it didn't fit right. It wasn't fitted properly. And it just, you're from Monaco, you can dress better than that. He was one of my worst dressed. And then Liam Lawson. Oh my God. Holy, 60-year-old corporate. It just gave that I don't care about what I look like vibe. It was grey pinstriped, which was horrendous in the first instance. And then it didn't fit. He had his facial hair needed to go.
yeah, I'm not a fan of. It's got to be a really well trimmed, short beard, almost like a George Michael shadow.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm the fluff. No.
Also, special mention for worst dressed was also Nico Hulkenberg. And I'm sorry, Nico. I know that he went with something, a bit more brazen, but it clashed. There was like a silvery shine.
I can't remember.
His coat was silvery with a black lapel, and then he had a metallic blue shirt on underneath that. And it just together, it was a bit he was a bit like he didn't know what he was doing when he got dressed. So, but they were my worst dressed.
Yeah, I thought all the wives and girlfriends, all the wags that went along with the drivers looked
Stunning.
they all look like movie stars. And speaking of movie stars, it was really nice to see all the drivers just get movie star welcomes when they arrived. My
Yeah.
gosh, Formula One has changed so much in the time I've been a fan, and they are. I mean, they've always been considered rock stars in Europe, Formula One drivers, but now, like to get a rock star welcome in the States, in New York, is something
Hmm.
different. It's yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that, I was looking at some of the, obviously, you mentioned that they had the premiere in Perth last night
Mm.
and actually in all of Australia, dotted around all the cities.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of the comments from people that I know that were at the different premieres, and there's interesting feedback. It's kind of so the people that I know that haven't been Formula One fans, and they've said they were a bit unsure about going because they thought that it might be too action focused and that's not really their thing. But they're like, oh, but the storyline, there was actually a great storyline. So, it was really good. And now I think I love Formula One.
Welcome to the fold. Welcome to our world. Yeah.
Well, yes, but just be prepared. It's not quite like what's in the movie, I'm sure.
No.
But then when I read the reviews from motorsporting fans, there's a lot of people that are like, it's just a lot of action and no storyline. So it's
Mm.
really contrasting. Have you seen any
Mm.
of the reviews?
Yeah, I have. I've seen it, well, mostly paid attention to the drivers'
Mm,
reactions to the movies, and everyone's gagged, right? No one can really say too
exactly.
much. But the drivers had some, they thought it was better than they expected it to be, that there was a storyline to it, that people will be able to experience Formula One like they've never been able to experience it before, and that the footage was really realistic.
But I'm wondering, like, how much of this do you believe when you've just said that they're gagged? And
Exactly.
yeah, but like, I don't think they can be very critical of the
No,
movie.
they can't. Like if they thought it was boring or unrealistic or just too fake or made up, they're not going to say that. They're not. No driver is going to come out and say that, especially
Mm-hmm.
when it's been produced by Lewis Hamilton, one of their own on the grid.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much investment into this film, so much
Mm-hmm.
investment from all sides, from like the drivers participated, the teams had to make allowances for F1 the movie, Formula One investment, all the sponsors, like that they went out and got sponsorship on the car, on the movie, the car that was in the film, like a sponsorship of a team. So, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, right. I mean, no other sport in the history of the world ever has done something like this before. So, this is a
Yeah.
world first. This is unique. This is cutting edge. And for that reason, I think everyone should go watch the film and embrace it. Love it, hate it, but support it.
Yeah. See, I feel like I'm going to hate it, but I still want to see it. And I've said this before. I feel like I'm going to hate it because I hate the Hollywood need for action and drama at every single turn. Like I happened to put on Wicked in the background when I was on a cruise ship trying to finish some work. And why is there a massive action scene in Wicked? It's oh my god, it's a stage musical. It was like this massive like, and the music and the like action and the fly, and I was like, since when did Wicked need this? Like
See,
it,
I don't have an issue with the action shots. Like, I mean, sometimes they're all over the top, but I can kind of deal with that. What I have issue with Hollywood films is predictability,
yes,
cheesiness, and
yes,
always having to have a happy ending. It's like
yes.
within 2 minutes of watching a film, sometimes
You
30
know what's
seconds.
happening.
Yeah, my husband and I sit there and I go, he's going to end up with her, but they're going to have a fight over this. And
Yep,
nearly always I'm right.
yep.
It's just the predict, and I think the F1 movie is going to be predictable.
Oh, 100%. And I saw some comment, actually lots of comment about the role of female characters in the film,
Yes, yes, I saw
and
that too.
it was exactly that predictability. Like they had, unfortunately, any scenes that apparently had any depth, that had any kind of real meaty storyline got cut. And the
Mm.
female characters are just there to be love interests, to be there to, need improvement and need help. And it's very predictable, like it's the same old trope for females. And I've seen that, well, those
Oh, we're
comments
bored.
from,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've
We're
seen that.
bored of that. We don't want to see that, which is why there's been such a, kind of evolution in Hollywood and film and TV where there's been lots of strong female leads.
Yeah,
Yeah. And if foreign movies portraying women in the 1970s way, you're not going to win over female fans, which is the fastest growing market in Formula One. But you know what? This is what Susie Wolf needs to do. F1, an F1 Academy film.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already
Yeah.
spoken about how good watching F1 The Academy on Netflix is, because we've done away with all that Hollywood, all that drama that has crept into season, what are we now, 7 of Drive to Survive? And we're kind of back to those early days where it really is just about the characters and what they're going through. And I feel like, I mean, we haven't seen the Formula One movie. Yes, we know, but like stripping back all of that kind of predictability, potentially, again, I haven't seen it, but it probably would have won me over. Like, if you had just made another Formula One documentary, I would be head over heels for it.
Yeah. If it wasn't too sanitized and staged, which is,
Yes.
one of the things that we felt was happening
Yeah.
in season 7 of Drive to Survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, I rewatched half of Drive to Survive. Just, I binge watched it all really quickly, and I was really kind of unimpressed with the first few episodes. It felt really sanitized, really set up, really staged. And then I rewatched it a couple months later, and I thought, actually, I think my expectations were too high. And that's the thing. Like when your expectations are high because you've watched something and you've loved it, and then the next season comes and it's pretty good, and the next season comes after that, it's pretty good, but not as, and then, but your expectations is still high. And when they're not met, then you're just disappointed, right?
Yeah.
But I watched it again and I thought, actually, it's more entertaining than perhaps I gave it credit for initially.
I just think those first few episodes were way too drawn out on the same issue when there was so much that happens in a season. But
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I would like to see more proper reviews from the Formula One movie, proper reviews from people that aren't so closely tied to the sport and don't have the same kind of inability to be honest about what they saw. I would like to see that.
And we're going to have to wait about a week for that, I guess. I mean, the movie comes out on Thursday in Australia, Wednesday in Italy. I did look at it to see, I wonder if I could catch the film, but no, I can't before I fly home. So we're just going to have to wait until the gag order's been lifted and the movie critics are able to publish their critiques.
Yeah, and I wish that I was able to see it before I go away again too, because it'll come out when I'm away again. So, dang it! I don't think you can get Formula One movies on a cruise ship that's on the remote side of Spitsbergen. So, damn.
What other news have we got, Mon?
Well, the only thing that maybe not the only thing, but the thing that has stood out to me and stuck in my mind, and it's all I can think about, is James Vowles has re-signed a multi-year extension as the team principal at Williams. Yay!
Yes. Yay. We're very, 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 very happy to see that. He's done amazing things in the 2 years that he's been at Williams. Signing Carlos Sainz is one of the big ones, but just watching their improvement from dead last to now fighting Mercedes and Ferrari. And he's got big dreams and big plans, and they've got investment in the team, which they didn't have before it was sold, when it was still owned by the Williams family. So, Williams was your good surprise for this year, Mon, and it's on track.
And I think that's why seeing this move has made me so happy as well, because there's clear progress having James Vowles in the team. He seems like such a lovable guy, just such a friendly, genuine. We spoke about this before, how he rules. Well, he doesn't rule with an iron fist. He is very much about camaraderie and lifting the team up and mateship but obviously still having the hard conversations that need to be had.
A good leader.
A very good leader. And I just think it's a very, very smart move. They would have been stupid to get rid of him. Yeah. So, but I'm so here for this era of very cool, calm, quiet team principles as opposed to the big, gruff, aggro boss.
I just think humans have evolved a bit. Like leadership styles have also evolved a bit, and it's shown to be a more effective way of being a leader. And it's also about being a good human and not being an asshole.
Yeah.
That's
having this level of empathy, I think really, really helps with keeping a level head, a very balanced kind of approach to what you do. And we've seen that with Valds, we've seen that with AO at Haas, we've seen that with even Fred Vasseur, who's, we touched on that last week about his role maybe potentially being a little bit unstable at the moment, but he's come in and he's jolly and he's jovial and he's friendly and he's, and I think that says a lot, and it has a lot of impact on how the team runs.
Yeah, well, that's what we see. Obviously, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but that's his personality comes across that way. And I really like him for Ferrari, and I just hope that the levels below him, they start making some changes there to get the team back at the top, which, as a Ferrari fan, it's where they should be.
Have you seen anything else that's been floating around that's worthy of bringing up and mentioning?
No, only that I thought that going back to F1, the movie, they released a haptic trailer. So if you've got an iPhone, then you can watch the trailer and your phone actually buzzes as the action scenes are happening in the trailer. So it's very tactical.
Tactile.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. No, I haven't seen anything else. We talked about the Fred Vasseur rumours that he quashed. No, you're off next week, so you're travelling. We do have another off week, no race next week, but we will be back with another episode of And Away We Go F1 podcast.
Yeah, so stay tuned, guys. And in the meantime, if you liked what you've listened to or watched, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can leave us a rating or a comment. We'd absolutely love it. We'd love it if you did. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok, where you can also double tap, leave a little comment, whatever you feel like. And if you so feel like it, you may also email us at andawaywegof1podcast@gmail.com.
And if you've seen F1 the movie, let us know. What are your thoughts? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you love about it? What did you hate about it? Was it too over the top? Was it too Hollywood? Or would you go and see it again? Tell us everything. We want to know. So thanks very much for listening. Thanks for having us in your ears. Jump on YouTube and check out this funky wallpaper in my Venetian apartment. And until next week, and until lights out.
It's lights out and away we go!
And Away We Go podcast is produced by Diane Bortoletto and Monique Ciccato.
Let's do it.